Welcome back to another Waynos Fotos video, and today we're going to have a review on the CLIQ Smart bicycle light. Now what makes this light a little bit different to your normal bicycle light is it has an inertia device in it. So it can be used for two purposes. One, as a brake light. When you slow down on the bike it gets brighter, and also as an alarm that connects to your phone. So when you're at a cafe and you're having a cup of coffee and someone moves or tries to steal your bike, it'll alarm on your phone and warn you that your bike's being tampered with. Well, let's roll that intro and let's just see how good this smart bicycle light really is. Now when we first look at this light, it basically shows all of the circuit board in the front of the light. So it hasn't got like a red filter like you would have on a normal bicycle light, but the actual LEDs are red. So what they're doing is they're actually having a LED that's actually fitted to a circuit board, and the actual LEDs are red instead of having actually like a red filter that you would have normally on a normal bicycle light. And they're using the old school technique of using lenses to concentrate those LEDs into a really bright light. But the disadvantage to this is if you're not within a very narrow degree of the back of the light really is not very bright at all. Now I have had lights like this in the past which, you know, run off throwaway batteries, and they've been quite effective, and they do actually last a long time because they don't use as much energy to basically power the light. So it is a little bit of an old technology when you first actually look at the actual light in detail, and you know it just really looks like, you know, an older design, the way the LEDs now have been done. Now the light comes with 3 LEDs on it, and I can just switch it on here and I can put on some different LEDs, and you can actually see that it has some different functions, and you can actually set these in an app, so you can actually change the way that it actually works. Now I was a little bit disappointed because the actual way the functionality works, even though it seems like you can adjust the intensity of every LED, it's pretty basic because the way they've designed the actual LED system is a little bit old school. I mean, it does work. I'm not saying it doesn't, and it's fairly bright. And the center one here hasn't got a lens on it, so it sprays out in all directions. And these two have 2 lenses on, so you need to be actually exactly. If I actually tilt it, you might be able to see how it becomes brighter when you point it directly at you. So that's something I've found that was a little bit disappointing with it. It has not got the power of these modern rechargeable lights that we see on the market currently. Well, here we're testing the alarm system. Now I've just got my app open and I've just engaged it. Now I've picked it up and you can hear the alarm going. And it's pretty loud on your phone, so you know you get the actual tone from the phone, and you also get like an alarm sound, which is pretty cool. So if you're sitting at a cafe and you had your phone on, you definitely hear it. Well, this actually is the clip that the light fits onto, and it gives you 3 positions on the light where you can actually have it straight, down, or facing up depending on where you want to mount it. But this little piece here is pretty much the weak spot, and it doesn't feel like it's made out of that good of plastic. Now if this breaks, there is no other mechanism to fit the light onto your frame of your bike, so you're pretty much buggered. So we'll have to see how this ages the plastic of this mount. Well, here are all the items that you have included in the box. Now you have the instructions, you have the light itself, you have like a band clip, and then you have a belt clip. You have the charging lead, but you don't actually have the charger. It is just the USB lead. And then you actually have the lacquer or rubber band that holds the light on. Now, these devices, the belt clip and also the strap clip, they actually designed to fit onto the clip that I just showed you previously. So everything revolves around that clip. So that's why I'm a little bit worried about how that clip will actually age with time. Okay, now we're going to do the braking test. I've got it on my helmet and I've got the Garmin radar on my actual bike. So here we go. Yep, now you can see it's got brighter, and we continue the braking, and then it goes back to its normal flashing mode. Yeah, it does a pretty good job, guys. So that part works quite well, and can't really complain about it. Well, I just wanted to do the experiment. How does this CLIQ light perform in pure daylight? So I've got it mounted to my helmet and I've got the Garmin radar mounted to my bike. Now we're looking at the back of my bike. You can actually see that there's a Garmin radar down the bottom and there's the CLIQ light on my helmet. Now when we go into the bright areas, it's a bit hard to see the CLIQ light, but it's also a bit hard to see the Garmin radar. But when we go into the shaded areas, both the lights become a lot more visible. So I have to say that it does have some value for being used in the daylight, because when you ride under trees or in shaded areas like I am now, it actually is quite easy to see. And you know, I still like to ride my lights in the daylight for this reason. So yeah, I would say that it's not too bad for its performance in pure daylight in comparison to the Garmin radar. Well, in conclusion, I'm in two minds about this light. It does have some good features, and I like the alarm system on it, which is really quite handy. And the cost of the light is actually not too bad. I got this on special, excuse me. Even at full price, it's only a little bit dearer than a lot of the mainstream lights that are on the market, even though it may not look quite as slick. So it's not considerably expensive for what it is. But one thing I do find disappointing is the technology they've used for the LEDs is pretty old school. I mean, the sort of lights I was using like this would probably be from 5 odd years ago or previously. Now, I'm not saying they don't work. The old technology still works, but it has some disadvantages because they're using a lens to amplify the actual LED. It's a bit of a disadvantage if you're off the actual angle of being directly out the back of the bike. The big advantage but to that is because they're using a lower powered LED, you actually get a longer run time. And that's actually one of my biggest criticisms with these modern rechargeable lights. Yeah, they go really bright, but a lot of them just will not last longer than 2 hours. And if you're actually a keen cyclist, you go for a ride, I mean, 1.5 to 2 hours, you know, your rides are usually longer than that. I mean, if you're doing like a 60 plus K ride, then forget about a lot of these modern lights because they just go flat. They just run out, and unless you put them on a lower setting. And then if you put them on a lower setting, they can't be used in the daylight. And even then, you know, you can't see them as well because they're pretty dim. So, you know, I mean, this thing has some advantages, but you do need to realize that the actual tech that they're using for the actual lights inside is pretty old school. But then the cost and also the other functionality adds up to that. So if you want something that's actually a light that's going to last some time, you want it to be an alarm, and you also want it to have a brake light, then this thing for the price is actually pretty good. Anyway guys, that's where I'm going to leave it. I'll catch you next vid. Cheers.